Hi everyone, Angelina, Sparkling Diva, and back with another pick a card reading. This is likely going to be a wee bit longer per set. This is a reading on your future and where your current path, what you're currently doing, is going to lead you. And basically, if you just keep doing what you're doing right now, right? We're also going to look in how you can help that process along so it goes easier, swifter, whatever, right? So we have three choices. To the left we have the green garnerite with moonstone. In the middle we have the golden obsidian, and to the right is, for the number 3, is the yellow calcite. So it's 1, 2, and 3 as always. So please make your choice and then click to your number for your reading. Right, numbers 1, 11, 11. No, sorry, 1, 11. When I started. Anyhow, the first 3 cards, these are about your path, your future, where you're headed if you keep going with with what you're doing. And we have air, imagination, staff, stability, and then hearth, homecoming. The air, the air blows you in the direction of new beginnings. And it's also indicative of clairvoyance, having the second sight, right? And also receiving signs and symbols along the way to your destiny. And it's important to heed these symbols, as they can help assure you that you're on the right track, and also that you are guided and protected. But it will also inspire you to keep going and to grow stronger in who you are, right? If you get these symbols and you notice them, then you know you're on the right track. That will motivate you, inspire you. And that will then also enhance faith in yourself. And what I actually feel is restore faith in yourself. So maybe you lost that a bit. And faith in yourself and your abilities. And again, that will motivate you to keep going and to stick to the path and to reach your destiny. So it's really very, very positive. You can do this. Your spirit is also on your side. And just heed the signs and the symbols to know that. And then it's like road signs as well, and with the staff, that actually says that you have stumbled, sidetracked maybe, or lost sight of your destiny. And because we had the faith thing restored here, maybe you just lost faith at some point that you were doing the right thing, that you were on the right path, but you are now being redirected to get back on track. And the signs that you get from that came up with air will help you with that, and with the staff will grant you stability. So that will also help you, and it will also show you the way. And at the same time, it's a reminder to stay grounded, because that's the only way to stay connected to your intuition. And you need to be connected to your intuition in order to understand and even notice the signs and symbols that you're getting. And the stability, it may slow you down a wee bit, because this can be really fast, right? The wind can blow you really fast, but then the risk is that you then lose track of your intuition, of the signs and symbols, because you're not grounded. So stability that the staff offers might slow you down a little bit, but it will ensure you will reach your destiny and destination without any further delays. And plus, it also allows you to do some, let's say, sightseeing, to learn, enjoy, and discover stuff along the way, the people you encounter during your journey, etc. And these are also very vital to the whole process of where you're going. And with Hearth, you are headed home, to coming home to yourself. And so yeah, what you're headed for is to finally step into your power and what you stand for, and to shine your light and to stand tall, regardless of what others may think or feel about that. Because this is truly a call home to where you can be the real you and totally relax and revel in that as well, because this is the place where you can do that, right? And you're done with pretense, keeping up appearances, etc., for other people's sake. You're really headed towards that, to being you, the real you. And it's a call to where your soul wants to go, right? Meaning you're getting clear where your true loyalties lie, and what you came to do here this life, and to create what supports and nourishes you, so you can then from that haven do what you came to do. And this is really powerful stuff that I'm talking about here, right? Being done with keeping up appearances, being influenced by other people's opinions and judgments and all that stuff. I just don't giving a rip about that anymore, and standing up and following your own path, your soul calling. Yeah. And let's see what we have next. The cards that I got to, what you can do to enhance this process, that you can help the process along. And I had intended to only get one card from the Wisdom of the Hidden Realms deck, but then this one was behind that. It was a surprise. There was a second card, the Phoenix. And I love the Phoenix. Wonderful energy. Anyhow, I have to just get the booklet, because the information on this was so wonderful, and then it's really why should I rephrase that if it's good, that I don't like to do that, and I usually don't do that, but sometimes it's just sometimes it's just really good to do read from the book, to tell you that. We have the Altar Priestess, and as an ally, so upright, that means that the stage is set and the world is waiting for you to take your place. And as an ally, as your ally, the Altar Priestess brings the ritual of reverent interaction with the mundane world. You're being required now to see everything as sacred, all of life as a meditation, and every action as a prayer of devotion. And when you are able to perceive the world in that way, your question will lead you to the appropriate answer. Because if all is sacred, how can anything be wrong? Ask how you can shift your consciousness to see your circumstances through the eyes of the divine, and you will realize how perfect and sacred everything is right now. And in a way, I also feel with the Altar Priestess that is where you're going. Like, she is this priestess. She knows what she's doing. She's empowered. She's doing her thing. She's unwind. And that's where you're going, to do your thing, to be centered and aligned and empowered in doing your thing, in standing tall. And with the Phoenix, it's a rebirth, right? The phoenix, it gets burned and then rises from the ashes, anew, right? And fresh, and leaving all the old stuff that doesn't serve behind is burnt away in that fire. And I personally always find it a very powerful energy. I can connect easier to the phoenix than I can connect with dragons myself, but that's of course very personal. And it is a sign that it's saying that your success, your ultimate success, is certain. It is ensured, and that is true. Even if it appears that you've just passed through a metaphorical experience of death, metaphorical, right? Like the phoenix, and or are currently enduring a perception of failure in your life. And it's a transformation, a rebirth. The phoenix is constantly reinventing itself and rises up whole and new and even more powerful with every death it experiences. This could signal an end of a situation, a relationship, or a dynamic within one, right? Or a job, a project. And yeah, if there is no failure of any kind, it could be a sign that it's time for a complete overhaul. And I think that's actually the most important one for this reading. A complete overhaul, because where you're going, where you're headed, you have to shed everything that doesn't serve you anymore. So you might need that complete overhaul of your own habits and thought patterns as well. So let's see what the tarot has to say for you. Right, the last cards of your reading, the 3 tarot cards. We have the 7 of Swords, the 3 of Swords, and the 6 of Pentacles. Very interesting cards. So the 7 of Swords says that it's time to no longer pretend to be someone you aren't. And that came up with one of the other cards as well. Something very similar, to no longer do that, right? To be just strong and empowered, and regardless of what other people say, etc. That comes back now with the tarot cards. And it feels as if you've gone through life, or maybe not your entire life, but only in certain situations or with certain people, wearing a kind of a cloaking device, because there's also always something hidden, secretive with the 7 of Swords, right? And I feel that for this reading, it's like on your end that. And you hiding, wearing a cloaking device like the Klingons or something. You know, they had a cloaking device for their ship. So you're invisible, kind of, and hiding who you really are. And the time has truly come now to throw off that cloak and to show your true colors. And communicate from the heart, dare to be real. Because with the cloak and then thus in hiding, you are only hurting yourself. And that has reached a phase where it has become damaging to yourself to do that. So you really have to stop doing that. And with the 3 of Swords, it's about old hurts from the past, whether in this life or past ones or both. And these hurts, these old hurts, are holding you back. And I feel that they have held you back for most of your life. You may have become so comfortable reveling in that, and that it has become your new normal to be to live from these hurts, to act and react and base everything on that, right? And again, that's not healthy. It's not doing you any good. It isn't your normal, not really. It is fear-based and keeping yourself small, which then in turns created that cloaking device, that hiding. But that's only a survival strategy. And it's time now for you to stop that, to become aware of that. And yeah, basically, that's what that was about. To let that burn away in the fire and be cleansed. And with the it's important to know, to realize, to accept and embrace, and that's a process, that these past things and wrongdoings, that the things that were done to you, are in the past, right? And you learn from them, see them as precious gifts that shape you into who you are now, with all that you have to offer the world. And that again goes straight back to the phoenix, letting the old and that cloak burn away and rising anew. And with the Pentacles 6 is very similar to the Hearth card. The destiny, the destination. The sacred balance that arises when your heart is aligned with compassion and generosity. And that will come with taking your destined place in this life. Being the real you and no more hiding, but standing tall and shining brightly. And then there's also then a beautiful balance between give and receive. And there's fulfillment. Feeling at home with yourself, with the world, the universe even. It's an absolutely beautiful energy. I've never felt so much power and strength, energy come off this card as now with this reading. It's really amazing. I hope you yourself can feel that as well. Because that, it's really very similar to that home coming hearth card. Beautiful balance. Although it actually feels that this in a way is even more advanced, more in alignment, balanced. So this is what I have for you. This is where you are going if you continue to do what you are doing right now, and what you feel called to do, right? And because we have this intuition and signs and symbols, so it's not like just sitting on your bum and doing nothing. That's not going to work, right? Just really keep at it. And thank you for watching, and I will see you again next time. Bye. Alrighty, numbers 2. Your first cards, and these 3 are actually the ones that show where you are headed, your future, your past. We have Scrying Mirror, Shadow, and we have Altar, Dedication, and Chalice, Fulfillment. The mirror, the Scrying Mirror, says that you're only using half of your potential, and that there is much more available to you, but to access that, you have to face the look in the mirror, basically, right? And face and embrace your shadow side, the part to find out what you're not using, right? Don't ignore what lives in your inner shadow, your dark side. And that's not per se evil, okay? Don't misunderstand that. Often we hide these things that scare us, and that's, well, most of the time I think it's a subconscious thing to do that. There's also another aspect to this, because if you are only focused on the light, on the positive, and choosing to ignore the rest, let's call that a negative, right? And attempting to create a straight line of good, there's only good and positive, etc., etc., then you are missing out on contrast. And the contrast is what motivates and triggers us to grow and to evolve, right? And maybe you are trying to avoid the negative as much as you can. And up to a point, that's good, okay? But you also need a certain amount of that contrast, which otherwise nothing ever happens. You're not inspired, triggered to grow. And it also makes me wonder, do you go out of your comfort zone enough? Because in your comfort zone, it's easy to keep things stable, also even predictable and pleasant. But without stepping out of that and risking bumping into different things, including the unpleasant, you can't grow, right? That's why they say life happens outside of your comfort zone. So it's important to endeavor there frequently and to live, Then then if you never do that, if you always avoid the negative, the unpleasant, what you experience to be negative and unpleasant, you never learn to deal with that either. Yeah, and that's very important. Okay. No idea where that came from. Altar. Next card. Creating a sacred space, a haven. So maybe at this point or in the near future, you need that haven. This is basically, again, this comfort zone, right? It's good to have a basis to come back to. But make sure you don't stay there for longer than is necessary, right? As explained here, it's also important to regularly venture out. But you need a balance, right? You can also always venture out because you don't have a haven. So there needs to be a balance. Another message I'm getting with this is that you're dabbling with many different things. So it could be that you're going through a phase, or will be going through a phase in the very near future, of finding out who you are, what you stand for, what exactly it is you want to do in life. Right? Maybe you're just dabbling with doing this, that, and the other, trying this and finding out how that works and feels for you, and then trying something else, etc., etc. It's a part of growth as well to do that, actually. For that, it is important to also know all sides of yourself, including your shadow, right? That keeps coming back all the way through your reading. That, if you don't know yourself fully, and it's kind of like one feeds the other, one helps the other. If you can learn about your dark side by dabbling with different things, and also the other way around, right? It also helps if you want to try different things, if you know your dark side, all aspects of yourself. So it's a back and forth thing. One helps the other to develop. I hope I'm explaining that clearly. Because I'm getting all these insights all of a sudden, these intuitions, things like ting, and then putting them into words is sometimes not so easy to do. It's just really important to not forget that inner part and work, right, and on yourself, and otherwise you are at risk of something external ending up doing that, and that will fulfill for a bit, but not in the long run, right? And with the chalice, the message here is also to realize that true fulfillment and feeling at home is within you, not outside of you. And again, I get the feeling that you are afraid to look in that mirror to see all of who you are. And with that, and I'm getting goosebumps all over now, which usually means I'm spot on, nailing something or whatever. I'm now also just wondering, are you afraid of your dark side? Or are you afraid of your power? Because you can also see that when you look in the mirror, right? What are you afraid of? It might be fruitful for you to ponder what fears come up in you with the idea of you standing up and claiming your space for you and your power and shining your light. What fears come up with that? Then you can get clarity and more insight in yourself as well, right? What I feel with these three cards is that you are entering a huge, deep process of development and growth, transformation. And immediately with that, I get now that the core of that process will take 3 months. And that doesn't mean to say that then it's over, right? It might go on a bit longer, but the most intense part, the core, will be 3 months. Yeah. Okay, your next card. Right, your next two cards, basically to give more depth, clarity on these other three cards that we had, and maybe more how you best move forward to help the process along. We have the Spiral Dancer and the Lady of the Mirror. So we again, my jaw dropped. Seriously, we again have a mirror, right? It's just unbelievable. Let's start with the Spiral Dancer. The Spiral Dancer moves with her own rhythm and steps to music that only she can hear. And it's also assurance and telling you that what you may experience currently as a setback, because maybe you are thinking you're not going anywhere, is actually you moving up the spiral. And there is also for you quite a powerful message because it comes up with another card as well in a minute with the tarot. That even though you may think you're back at a point that you already had, right? You're not. You never go back to the exact same spot you have been before. It may seem like that. It's a matter of perception. That's why it also says perception there. But you can, if you were to go back to the exact same spot, exact same place that you've been before, you would have to unlearn, undo, and unknow everything that you have learned since. That's not possible. All that can happen. Sometimes you do have these things that you think, I already done that. I've already worked through that. Why does it come up again? But if you then take a bit of a breather, you will realize that you have indeed come to the same subject, maybe, but at a deeper layer. It's not the same. Because in the meantime, since that first happened, you have grown, you have learned. And so it's different, it's never the same. So it may seem as if you actually aren't going anywhere, but you are getting higher, further, advancing. That's the message of this Spiral Dancer. And I think that's basically all, yeah. And with the Lady of the Mirror, again asks you to look in that mirror and because see yourself in that mirror made by the events of your life. And she represents the powerful force of the law of attraction, and she reminds you that all that you are is what you attract. And that's not always pleasant because then you will have to then look in the mirror, right? That's why she's the lady of the mirror. And it sometimes takes quite a lot of guts to do that, right? Sometimes when people say something or when you find out something and realize that it's because of what you are, what you exude, that is happening. It's like, it can anger you. But yeah, it's just how you can learn. Even though it might be difficult to accept, you attracted it. Yeah, and I'm chuckling maybe, and maybe that angers you as well. But that's because these things happen to me just the same, right? And and then the last part of that Lady of the Mirror, she asks you to honor every part of your story as essential to your highest unfolding. And can you see yourself as being exactly where you need to be on your path? Do you love what you see in the mirror? Yeah. And that is really very important. Maybe some of you can't even look in that mirror. Literally, I'm now talking, right? I mean, literally look in a mirror, look in your eyes, and see yourself for who you are and love that image. Maybe you look in the mirror and think, ew, the kind of like on the inside, right? And for many people, it's very difficult to look in a mirror and to really, really see yourself to do that. At some point, I made a point of it to do that several times a day. I put a mirror in the kitchen where I often am at and where I do my makeup. In the kitchen, yes. And I took time during the day, more than once, to look in that mirror consciously. Look in my eyes, look at myself, and at some point you just start to smile. It's amazing. At first it's awkward, which is really daft because it's you, you're looking at yourself, but it's really awkward to look yourself in the eye like that. But at some point it's like, as if something falls away, as if you come home to yourself or whatever, and you can't help but just smile. And then the next step would be to say, I love you. Which is also very awkward at first, but maybe this is a good one for you to try that. I don't know why I'm telling you that it comes up, and I just go with my intuition. I'm just telling you. Your last card's the tarot. Right, your tarot cards, we have the Moon Child, which is not a default tarot card, it's an extra card in the Moon Child tarot deck, right? That comes with 4 or 3, I can't remember now, extra cards. That's why I bought the deck. Moon Child, and we have the 3 of Pentacles. The Moon Child speaks of cycles, things going round and round, but not getting back to a previous point, but rather like an upward spiral, like what we saw with the spiral dancer. So realize that things aren't static, neither are you, right? Your body and nor your mind, your body and emotions, they're not static, and you won't come back to a previous point. But there is an ebb and flow to everything. Like sometimes with the moon, sometimes it's full, sometimes it's waxing, other times it's waning. Cycles. So be in tune with the cycles of yourself. Learn these cycles. And that can be your monthly cycle, especially if you're a woman. It can be a yearly cycle, daily even, how you, what you do during the day. What you eat, what time you eat, blah, 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 all that stuff, right? And try to accommodate yourself concerning these cycles. And maybe you discover something in a cycle that in your life that actually isn't serving you. That's good to know that, because then you can change it. And of course, there's external cycles of relationships. And I mean all relationships, not just love relationships. They're also a dance. and they should preferably be fluid. Like moving closer, moving apart a bit, and moving together, and it's like a beautiful dance. And funny thing is, and I'm just going to tell you because it came through so powerfully, and still does, is a strong feeling that it's a reminder to not seek all that you need in life within one person or situation, but the person feels stronger. We have several dances and cycles with several people. Don't expect one person to be all fulfilling to you, because that is really a very heavy weight to carry, to place on someone else's shoulders. And it's also healthier for yourself if you occasionally dance with another. And I'm not talking about having several lovers, of course, right? I mean, don't expect a partner, a romantic partner, to give you everything you need, right? You also have family, friends, colleagues, and they add to your life as well, and they should add to your life. And so don't make your life and all the cycles about one thing and one person, or one person. And the most fulfillment is begotten by also sharing part of life with many people. So in other words, what it comes down to is to have a life outside of a love relationship. Don't expect a partner to give you all you need. And maybe you're single, so you're not doing this, but maybe this is a cycle you have, a pattern you have of expecting a partner to be your everything you need, right? The person who supports you, who helps you, who listens to you, who whatever, gives you everything, fills everything that you need. But it's just not healthy. Not for you, not for the other person either. Anyhow, the Three of Pentacles gives me a very strong feeling that you put all your aspects in alignment and embrace all of who you are, all what you learned in life from situations and connections, whether good or bad. And they all brought you something beautiful, even the ones that were not so pleasant. And that gels again with that mirror card to investigate all parts of yourself. And then this one says to bring all these parts of yourself together as a whole, the being you are, with no aspects of you missing or ignored and neglected. And all these aspects can work together beautifully and will make you feel fulfilled. That's where you're headed, to getting there. And as you can see, these women, they're holding hands, they're dancing together, and they have total trust in one another, and they are aware of the others, but they're not looking at each other. So they're completely trusting that they will not let go, that they, won't drop one person or exclude one from the circle or whatever. All aspects, because for this reading, I'm now reading this as aspects of you. All aspects of you are allowed to take part in the dance of the whole being that you are. Beautiful togetherness, coming together, and that. So, yeah, you are moving into more wholeness, togetherness of your own inner you. First, discovering it all and allowing and embracing all these different parts of you, and then there will be alignment and being in sync with yourself. So yeah, that's then you will get this and that fulfillment. So that is what I have for you. I hope you enjoyed it and that you recognize things in it, because that's the most important, of course. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye. Number 3, welcome to your reading. Um, your first 3 cards. These 3 cards are actually the ones that I shuffled for to get answers to your path, right? Where you're going, your near future, etc. These are the 3 cards. The other cards are going to be more clarifiers, etc., etc. We have water cleansing, the Watchtower of the North, winter, and Lunasa, prosperity. With water, I immediately hear that you need to drink more water. Your body and especially your brain need more water to function better. And you may not be aware of any issues, but your body still needs more water. And that will help all functions of and in your body as they require water. But also it aids ridding your body of what it needs to go, right? And maybe you now think, yeah, well, I have to go to the bathroom even more often, you know. But the stupid thing is, I know that from experience. Oftentimes, when you drink more water, you do not have to go to the bathroom more often at all. And don't ask me why, I don't know. But even my daughter-in-law experienced a young woman still experienced the same thing, and so have I. It's really weird. So in one way or another, if your body gets enough water intake, I suppose it then can absorb all the water that it needs in the cells and use the rest to do what it is now doing with the little bit you're giving it, you know, to have a pee and to cleanse, etc. Really weird. So it doesn't mean you have to go to the bathroom more often. Just try it, see how it works for you. It came in immediately, that message, very strong, that you need to drink more water. It is also, apart from that, it's also a message to heed the things that you feel, right? Because water is also about emotions and intuition, etc., etc. And then the question, are you aware of what are, when you feel stuff, what are your emotions and feelings and what aren't? You likely are so sensitive that you pick up a lot of debris and emotions from other people. And if you're not aware of that, you might end up thinking it's yours and that you are in a bad mood or feeling sad or feeling blah or whatever. Well, actually, you aren't feeling that way at all. It's what you pick up from other people, or it's you feeling that way because you have too much energies from other people and your environment absorbed in your own systems, and you need to cleanse that and all that stuff, right? That influences you as well. But be very aware of what's yours and what not. Because if you are aware of that, you will also find it easier to leave it outside of your, out of your system. Because if it's other people's just crap, or thoughts or emotions, it don't have to be crap, of course, but that's none of your business. You don't have to do anything with that. And it it shouldn't influence you either, right? With this card, you could become more sensitive in the near future, etc., and along your path. But I immediately feel that will be in a very different way than you may have experienced before. Maybe you now get easily thrown off kilter by all that you pick up, but you can also be equally sensitive while remaining solidly anchored in your body and centered and empowered and not thrown off kilter at all. You just, in a way, you become more like an observer. And then you can also start selecting what you need, what you allow in, and what is totally not important for you or just none of your business. Right? It's like, it's a bit of a poor example, but it's like you can become like a spill in a wheel, and then you feel everything from the outside via the spokes. I hope I get the words right. I do think so. But the spill of the wheel will remain stable, solid, right? And like I said, it is a bit of a poor example, but as when you are as stable as I mean, you are the one to choose what comes in and what not. And that will really go automatically at some point, defined by your center, by your stable core. And you will then come to automatically and energetically, of course, shake off anything that doesn't serve you and doesn't match your vibration. And that really is true. I'm not making that up. It doesn't come from the book either. I know this from my own experience because I've been there myself. Now we move to the Watchtower of the North. It looks like you'll be going through a period of rest and rejuvenation. And I feel that is part of the shift that you need to go through to get that inner stability that I talked about just now with the water card. And depending on far you've come already and what you have already purged and learned, etc., this can be a reasonably relaxed going inward and period of rest. But this card can also be the dark night of the soul. So for some it may be that, then it means it's more intense, right? And there's nothing to be afraid of, but yeah, most people experience that dark night of the soul as intense and not so pleasant. And yeah, it still seems to be a necessary part to go through that at some point in our journey to wholeness and to standing up in your light. Even in some schools of witchcraft, or all, I'm not entirely certain, you have a period. You enter first as a new witch, novice, or whatever you need to call that. I don't know. But there's a new person in that coven, in that school, and to learn the basics, etc., etc. And then the second phase is that darker period, investigating your own dark side, your shadow, and basically the dark night of the soul. Because without that, you cannot really, reach really great heights either, right? You need to know how deep you go and what's in those depths, and in order to also get higher and higher and higher. It's not possible other way around. And it's some way or another, we all go through that at some point. It's nothing to fear. You will come out stronger in a way, right? It's just part of growth. Anyhow, this is also about releasing and surrender, and I get a strong feeling that that is an important factor. Are you maybe unwilling to let go of something or someone? And that can be like anyone, a person, but it can also be your own habits and patterns. Or it can also be stepping out of a work situation or letting go of a project that you were working on that doesn't work out, etc., etc. But I feel that the letting go part, that releasing, is an issue. And it's like sometimes we want to move on to a higher realms, so to speak, to something entirely different. It doesn't have to be higher realms, can be anything. Just to an entirely different way of living or whatever. But then we do not want to let go of the old. We want to take everything with us. Well, you can't have new become a new you or have an entirely different new situation if you take all the baggage, everything from the past with you, right? You will have to let go of something or a lot of things. It depends. And I feel there is an issue there. And if that resonates, if you're reluctant to release whatever it is, then the process of this watchtower is also going to be prolonged, right? It will be easier on you and faster when you are able to go with the flow, to surrender, like water. Water flows where it's easiest to go. So in a sense, you will have to surrender control and let spirit take the lead to get you through this phase of that tower with as little problems as possible. If you can do that, then it will be a lot shorter and easier on you. I feel for most of you that's the case. I feel for most of you it can be shorter and easier. But it depends if you have problems with letting go of whatever needs to be let go of and refuse to do that. I'm not doing that. I want this with me, or whatever it is. It can be a habit. It can be something as stupidly simple as quitting smoking. You know? Anyhow, next card, Luch. I'm just going to say Luch. It's Lunasa, but anyhow. This is what you get when you have gone through that entire process. Abundance. You can reap the fruits of your hard work, and the seeds that you've planted have grown into an abundant crop. And it's harvest time, right? Know that your success, that this abundance is right around the corner. Knowing that, feeling that hopefully, can give you the strength that you may need to get through this time, right? Nothing is lost. Everything is in divine order and working out exactly as it should. You are on track and you will get your harvest. Absolutely beautiful harvest. Right, your next cards. Right, we have the Rainbow Prince and we have the Queen of Light. Both these cards speak of hard work, you having worked really hard, and that it wasn't always easy, but that now compensation will be there for you. You will be given compensation. You will receive compensation for everything you've done, for all your hard work. Both of these cards say that. The Rainbow Prince is like says that you've endured a rainstorm, and now the Rainbow Prince will now bring you then a pot of gold, which basically is back to the harvest that we spoke of here. This is the first harvest festival of the year, Lunasa, 1st of August, Celtic festival. The Rainbow Prince says to keep your sights on the sky after that rainstorm that may have upset your life. Follow your bliss to the pot of gold waiting for you. Perseverance pays off and your reward will be greater than you can imagine. Well, wow. And with the Queen of Light, it is really very similar. She comes to illuminate the most important steps on your path. So you are being guided as well, right, by Spirit. And she reminds you of your own brilliance and also assures you that all your needs will be met. And you are on the correct path for your highest good. And she promises that you'll be shown the next right action and celebrate you, and in that you have worked so hard to come this far, and that you can be proud to stand tall in your conviction that in your heart of hearts you know the truth of your situation. Rewards for your perseverance and willingness to learn are on your way. Gratitude and acceptance are key today. So both these cards speak of that. Having worked hard, it hasn't been easy, maybe always. Or right in the near future, I think you will get that bit right with the that's the phase of this watchtower. But then you will get to your incredibly wonderful harvest. You will get the pot of gold. Now let's look at your last two cards. We have the Ten of Swords and the Nine of Wands. Ten of Swords is very similar to the message that we discussed with this tower, the watchtower of the north. Going through a difficult period, possibly dark night of the soul. Here's the Ten of Swords is also really, and a card like that, slowing down, needing time to work through it. But in the background, a new dawn is rising already. And that new dawn is, again, your harvest, to Lunasa. And also, bear in mind, because that's also with the Ten of Swords, it isn't all as bad as it may seem while you're going through it, right? Like when you're going through this period of that tower and the Ten of Swords, you may feel like, oh my God, that you're really hit rock bottom and it's never going to end and it blah, blah, blah. But it isn't all that bad. A new dawn is already rising, right? And also, normally with the Ten of Swords, you see the person on their side and the swords are in their back or body. With this person, it appears to be the same, but is it? Can also be an illusion, right? Because the swords are behind her. We can't see if the swords are actually in her back, in her body at all. Maybe they aren't. Because the swords is always also thoughts, beliefs, convictions. And these do not have to be correct. So in that sense, the message, it isn't all as bad as you think it is. With the Wands 9, it says that you're almost there. Might be helpful as long as you're going through this phase and the Ten of Swords. You're almost there, so don't give up now. Keep going. You are close to completion and success, to that what you worked so hard for. So don't lose hope. Don't give up, right? A new dawn is rising and you will be rewarded. You will be given or find that pot of gold, and all is going to be absolutely well for you. So this is what I have for you, for your what you're going through and what awaits you. And I think maybe you already are in this process. So, well, thank you for watching and I will see you again soon. Bye.